did both of you guys meet, and how do you both end up in the same situation?
We met in a recovery house. He was in the man's recovery house. I was in a woman's recovery house. I was only there for a very short amount of time. He had been there for on and off for a couple of years, I think. And we were sober for the first several years of our relationship. We've been together 8 years now. And when I met him, I just had my brain tumor removed, and I was on a lot of pain pills, and unfortunately he was stone sober, and that brought him down. So, you know, you can't bring pills to 30s around a person who's in recovery. And I really didn't think about it like that. I was taking them pretty much as prescribed, you know, for a couple of years, and then that quickly went to selling them for $500, $600, $700 and buying heroin. I mean, within 2 years, that's what I was doing. So, but yeah, we've been, and then, you know, obviously we've been together, so wherever he goes, I go, wherever I go, he goes, so we're each other's everything. I mean, we're best friends, and we just stick by each other's side and try to get through it. This is survival, not life.
We pay somebody $5 a day to get us, if you want to consider it either one or two ways. We pay somebody $5 a day for one bag of heroin. Costs $5 to get us either well or stop us from being sick, and we pay for this. So it's hard to explain. It's
unbelievable. And they're driving BMWs and Mercedes, and they have all these great clothes, and they have all this, and we have nothing. So that right there should tell anybody. When you look at that drug dealer, watch what car he pulls up in. Watch what clothes he has on. Watch the jewelry. Look at the jewelry on him, and say, "Do I want to buy that for that guy? Because I'm going to have nothing, and he's going to have it all." Because that's what happens. It's that simple.
And of course, when you'll spend all, like, she gets, because of her brain tumor, she gets a little bit of money. Monthly, she gets a little bit of a monthly SSI check, but. All the drug dealers are your friends up to that point where, when you're broke, I can't. Oh no, I can't do it, man. They can't do it, dog. Tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's another day.
I have kids. That's what
Not
they say.
even $5. I got kids. I can't even let me go a quarter. I just spent $300 the day before, and they won't let me go a quarter the next day.
And like I said, look at what they're driving. Look at what they're wearing. Look at where they're living, because they have all your money.
And don't get me wrong. It's all our own fault, but it's just. It's the fact of the matter.
Of course it's our own fault, but the bottom line is, I think that's a good thing. Do you really want to support this guy? Do you really want to support him? That's how I feel. It makes me sick. It makes me sick. It does.
Yeah, hi, my name is Patrick. I'm 51 years old. I reside in Kensington at the moment. I am homeless with my wife. I'm struggling out here with addiction to heroin. Grew up in a good neighborhood in Northeast Philadelphia. Was raised very well. Never expected to hit my knees as hard as I did with the struggle I had with my heroin addiction. It took everything from me. I have a very good career. I'm a plumber by trade. I was at one point making $28 an hour, and basically what happened was, with everything that comes with everything that the drug promised me, lack of a home, lack of a job, shoplifting, things like that to support my habit. These are things that my morals were never raised this way. If my mother was still alive today, she'd probably kick my butt. All due to the fact that I need to get well every day. This is not a drug like back in the day, growing up smoking pot here and there and fitting in socially with a little bit of pot and some alcohol. This is a everyday fast to get well. And what I mean by getting well, it's a sickness. And basically, if I don't get well, sometimes, when being sick and being addicted to heroin, sometimes you really don't have that ability to make it always on time, and throwing up and all that pleasantness and bodily fluids and things like that. It's basically a situation where it's kind of, and this is a true live interview here about being honest and upfront. I love it, but I hate it. I never expected to go through what I've gone through. I've only been using the drug for about 5 years now. I've used every other drug. I was on crack cocaine in the early 90s. I started smoking crack cocaine in 93. I stopped smoking crack for 16 years. I put that drug down because I thought that was taking everything from me. I did move out of Philadelphia because I thought Philadelphia was the problem, but I realized I take myself wherever I go. So I moved to California, and in a matter of 2 days, I was finding cocaine down in San Francisco. Moved back to Philadelphia. Only had my jobs only because my brother owned his own plumbing business, and I was able to support my habit until my brother sold his business, and the crutch, like we called him, he was my crutch. I would always call him back. Well, he sold the business fell. I started doing grimy stuff for my addiction, and that's where I'm at today. If I had a choice to tell anybody not to pick up the drug, I would never tell anybody to venture any further to using heroin. Only thing I can say, and I am proud of myself when I say this, and I say this every time I say this, I always say this after what I say. Never say never. I never used intravenous drugs, so I thank God for that. Only due to the fact that I just am afraid of needles, and I never stuck a needle in my arm yet. But that's just a matter of time, and that's what they tell me. But basically, what it comes down to is I do have to find a way out of this. And the thing about this is, damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't have your get well in the morning, you're sick. If you try to get through the day, you're sick. If there's no ways around it. It's all about wanting it. I did have some sobriety in time. I did go through spats in my life where I did have some 5 months here, 9 months here sobriety. And basically, what it comes down to is that's where I'm at today. With everything that's going on in Philadelphia today, it's very scary. I was not born and raised for this. I'm not a tough guy. I'm not adapt to this. I mean, I can hold my own, but I'm not, what you say. I'm not born and raised I'm not born and raised in Kensington. I was born and raised in Northeast, which is, to its own, but it's a whole different world out here. I burn a lot of bridges in my field due to my addiction and due to, people that I've done some grimy things to get the next one. And all my jobs, not for my performance. I'm a registered licensed plumber. Like I said, I make very good money when I'm on the ball. It's just that some of the things that I've done to get the next one that, owners and operators of these plumbing companies, I started getting a bad name. I have no family left except for my wife, thank God for her. My brother, who's very well off, he has his own plumbing business. I worked for him for about 25 years, very well established. I've heard, and it kind of kicks me in my ass a little bit, that I've heard that he sold the business and then he bought the business back. But when he sold the business was supposed to be co-ran by me, and I wasn't supposed to, I wasn't going to be the owner of it, but I was going to have it pretty well. I was going to sit back and have like a cake job and pretty much just sit back and run his business for him. But with the trust issues and the stress, I stressed him out too much. He had a stroke. He blames his stroke on me. Don't know how true that is, but basically, everything I put him through, I do believe that addiction is a disease. I do believe that I adapted this disease through, family members such as my father being an alcoholic. Other than that, my childhood was good.
Do you have kids?
Yes, I do.
Talk a little bit about your kids, how old they are, and where are they right now?
My kids, I have a daughter. She's 22, very well off. See me go through my spats of addiction. Told my ex-wife at the time that her dad was going to die if he didn't stop doing drugs. And of course, no one can keep myself clean except for myself. Not my children, not my ex-wife, not my new wife, not anybody except for me is going to keep myself clean. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. I have 3 beautiful kids. I have another son who's 18. I have another son who's 16. Basically, they're all good kids. What I know of, my daughter's in college. I really don't see them much because they don't really have nothing to do with me that much because of my drug addiction and what I put them through. It hurts every day to go through something like that. But I just have to, face the fact that I choose to be who I am. I choose to be who I am, and do I want to quit? Someday I do want to quit. A lot of time it masks the pain of other things that goes on in my life, So if I just put that drugs in my system for that time period, I forget about everything else just for that time period. It's not an escape. It's not a. It's nothing to be proud of. It just takes me away from myself for that short moment. But when all said and done is when that moment comes back and reality hits, it's worse. It's worse. The guilt, the remorse, the shame. You know.
If your kids was watching this video, what message would you like to send to them?
I'm sorry for putting them to what they have to do. Thank God they took for it. If anything they learned from my drug addiction is they learned me grow up and see what I went through using drugs and alcohol, which might have scared them away from not using. As sad as that may seem, as sick as that may seem to some people, it means it's good to me because my kids are good off and they're better with their ex-wife. Due to the fact that they do not smoke cigarettes, they do not drink, and they do not do drugs. And that's a true fact because they are scared to death of what their father had showed them through my own experience of using drugs and alcohol. But I do believe that if I had a choice in my life to go back, that I would never have picked up heroin, and that was my worst mistake in my life.
When you look at yourself in the mirror now, what do you see?
Shame. I feel shame, guilt, remorse. I'm not that person I am. I'm not that person I am when I'm sober. I'm the best person I could be as a father, an employee. I can hold a job. A little thing. A little thing that basically what I used to tell when I lived in a recovery house for a short period of time. I would say, hey, put a bag of heroin down, bang, you get a job. There you go. It's as simple as that. You put a crack pipe down, bang, get a brand new pair of shoes. And a good thing about what I know about drug addiction and getting clean and sober is, once you stop, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of foundation and building to get a good foundation of good people and support groups in your life. To have a way of staying sober. The only thing I can say, and this is a guarantee, is if you're working and you have a job and you put drugs and alcohol down, you give yourself an instant raise. Because every dime I make or every dime that I come across, I spend on drugs and alcohol. I very rarely seldom eat. I found ways to eat through different shelters and homes, and that's okay with me. As long as I have my drug, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with eating peanut butter and jelly every day and drinking water. My wife has a brain tumor. She's on medicine with painkillers and stuff like that, so it's very hard. She needs to take pain medicine for her tumor. But on the other hand, it's a tough cause. That's a tough way to go through life with having a legitimate medical condition, but still needing pain medicine. So,
if you had 3 wishes in this world, what would your 3 wishes be?
It wouldn't even be, people would say all the money in the world. People would say rich and famous and fortune and things like that. I would just wish that I would just be able to hold down a job, be sober, and I'm 51. I feel like I wasted a lot of years of my life. Pretty much, spend the rest of my life, the rest of my living days, sober and helping other people.
What's your message to the world?
Just be careful. Be careful out there with whatever you be prepared for consequences. Be prepared for consequences of your actions, because there are always consequences of your actions, especially with drug addiction, especially with hardcore drugs. When we're talking about, crack cocaine and heroin.
So how did you get introduced to drugs?
I was on pain. I never touched them until I was on pain medication with my tumor, and unfortunately, it quit working. And it really did quit working. I mean, it really does. Even they up, and then they're not going to up it past a certain point, and it's not doing anything anymore. And then somebody puts the bright idea, and it's not their fault, but you hear it. Not even that they said it to me, but I just heard it somebody else was selling their pills for heroin and gave it a shot. It started out, we were doing 1 bag between us a day. It was so cheap, I mean, it would get us rocked. Now, I mean, it would take a bundle a day each to get that same feeling.
13 or 14 bags
Yep.
of that.
I mean, it's so quick. It's within a month. It goes from 1 bag to a bundle a day. So it isn't cheaper. It isn't cheaper at all. I was a travel agent for about 20 years. That kind of went out the window in 2000 because of, everything that happened there. But I also had a son that passed away in 2000. I got a large settlement from that. A doctor made a very big mistake and he died when he was a baby. But that money that's long gone. I mean, millions of dollars long gone. I mean, I've had in the last probably 5 years, I've had over $150,000 in inheritance. It was gone in months. That's, I mean, how quick this drug just takes it from me. I grew up in Chester County. I mean, I grew up with my parents, gave me the best life in the world. I literally had to live in Maine. This was not the life I don't even understand this life. I don't understand. I mean, to not have a home is, I mean, you're tired all the time. It's constant work.
We live out of the back of a box truck.
Constant work to survive. And I would have never ever touched this drug. I mean, I cannot even describe you. I used to think that people robbed and killed and did all this to get high. It's not about getting high. It's about not being sick. It is truly the worst sickness. I mean, I've had a brain tumor removed. It's come back. It's not even, there's nothing comparable to the sickness you get if you don't have this fentanyl that's out there now. I mean, it is unbelievable. You can't even function. I mean, you crawl out of your skin. You have no control over your own bowels. You have no control over anything. It is the worst sickness I've ever, I mean, times a million. I would not want it for anybody, not anybody. It's the worst mistake of my life. The worst mistake of my life, touching this drug.
Came from,
Came from that life with my parents
holding
panhandling.
a sign, panhandling to make a, $7 an 8 hours?
Yeah, average about $20 a day. People are mean. I mean, they're mean. And I don't blame them. I felt the same way. I wouldn't want to give money, to me. A lot of people buy food. They buy me, I stand by Chick-fil-A. I'm very thankful for that. I can't afford Chick-fil-A. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to spend $7 on a meal. I'm sick. I can't even eat. I mean, it's, I wish every parent out there would just do everything in their power to keep their kids away from this drug. Everything. Everything.
What's a day out here for you is like?
It's absolutely exhausting. It starts at about 7 in the morning. We're living in the back of a box truck, so it's about 4 million degrees by 7 in the morning. We get up and we walk all day long. All day. I mean, we probably average 25 to 30 miles a day walking. This is really the earliest we've collapsed in a long time. I'm almost sunburned. He doesn't feel well. We just finally collapsed today. It's normally about 8 o'clock before we even sit down. And it's all about trying to get some sort of money to get well. It's not even, I can't even say get high because it's not what it's about for me anymore. I don't even get high anymore. It's to keep from being sick. It's that sickness.
Trade the food stamp card.
Yeah, I mean, we trade our
80 for 40 on food stamp.
We sell our food stamp card. I mean, we sell
ridiculous amount of money.
I mean, you get half, so $200 is $100. That's gone in hours with 2 people. Hours. You get $20. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Out of $20, we'll spend $5 on food. That's what we'll spend. We'll spend $5 on food. If I need a toothbrush or I need a brush, something like that. Water, things like that. Because we have none of that. We have to go ask for bottles of water, It's not like we can go home and turn on the spigot. That's how we bathe. We bird bath. It's horrible. It's a horrible life. It really is. It's been going on now for 3 months, and it seems like it literally has aged me. I'm a little bit older than him, but it's literally aged me. I feel like I've aged 10 years in the last 3 months. I really do.
Where do you see yourself like a year from now?
God willing, not here. I don't want to be here a month from now, but I really am hoping that we're going to figure something out to get back on our feet and get a little room and just start from scratch all over again and just dig very slowly out of this hole. I don't mind working. I don't mind it. I don't mind working hard to get back what we've lost. It's just stuff, but a home is important.
There's one thing I would like to add about this, and since this interview is pretty much anonymous, there's been times that my wife and I had spoke, you know, not to the fact that you don't know us from a can of paint or anything like that, but there's been times when we said to each other the next day that we wished we never really woke up the next day to go through the misery of what we had to endure to get well. And the only reason I say that is because we don't want to be 302. We don't think about hurting ourselves or anybody else, but there's been times when rather than go through the day, we'd rather not even wake up.
I've never talked to a person addicted to fentanyl or heroin that has not said they want to die when they're sick. Everybody does. It's that bad. The sickness is that bad. I wish I had felt it one time for an hour. I would have never touched it. Never touched it. Never.
If you had 3 wishes in this world, what would your 3 wishes be?
That I could get off this drug and not have to be sick while I do it. That nobody I'll ever care about would be on this drug. And to just have my health back. I'd like to have my health back.
What's your message to the world?
Stay away from drugs. I mean, I'm not really in a position to give anybody advice on anything. I just, like I said, if I could keep one person from picking up drugs, one person. I never smoked pot. I never did any of that. I never did any of the stuff that he did. I went straight to like pills and then heroin, hardcore stuff. But I would love to just let people know it's not worth it. It's not worth it.